everybody, welcome back to tnoozLIVE at the Aviation Festival, presented by JetBlue Technology Ventures and sponsored by Travel Air. I'm Martin Cowan, I'm Editorial Director for tNews, and I've got with me on the sofa Tobias Wessels, who's Senior Vice President of Business Development for Adara. Now, Adara is a name that's been knocking around the travel industry for it's about 9 years. 9 years, yeah, so just on the off chance that it hasn't blipped the radar of any tnoozLIVE viewer, just give us a brief oversight about what Adara does.
Yeah, well thanks for having us, or having me. Yeah. So Adara, we're really a travel co-op for the travel community in general, worldwide. We partner with about 200 of the largest travel brands in the world who share their search, booking, and loyalty information with us.
Okay.
It's really interesting because it allows us to get a really deep view of travelers, in-market travelers often, across the world.
So that's 200 travel, aviation, hotel
Yeah, a little
brands.
bit more than 200 travel brands.
And they feed anonymous data into an Adara engine, for want of a better word, and then you crunch that data.
That's right, they feed that in real time to our platform. Okay. And it's not just superficial data, it's really deep data, up to, on average, 30 or plus than 30 data points for each traveler that we see. Okay. And that gives us a very deep view of a traveler, but because it's more than 200 travel brands worldwide, we also have a large scale. So if we see every 30 days, we see north of 750 million individual travelers.
Okay.
And that's scale that has not been accessible in the market before.
Okay, so all these 200, more than 200 airlines, they feed the data in real time into the Adara engine, and then what happens? I mean, what are the use cases around this vast data set that you've got?
Yeah, so one use case is that these partners can actually benefit from our latest framework that we brought to market, which is what we coined customer yield intelligence. Okay. It's a very unique set of solutions that take advantage of the data that is available to Adara, all the members in the co-op. And there are three pillars to this. One is learn, act, and measure. Okay. You see many of these travel companies or technology companies who focus on specific silos of solutions. Okay. Right? And what our focus is to first educate the market. Hey, there are certain aspects you can learn. For instance, we have a unique view of customers. There's what we call the recognized traveler, a single view of the customer that hasn't been in the market before. We also have solutions in the learn category, like our traveler value score. Then the second pillar of this customer yield intelligence, we have the act. So what do you do now with this insight that you have? And so there's our well-established advertising platform, which is highly effective because it takes advantage of these first-party data signals that we have, which are really proprietary to Adara. But then we also have propensity scores or our personalization engine. So if you're a big airline, you can use these signals to really drive the ancillary sales of your booking engine.
Okay.
You know? And then, last but not least, we have the measurement category to say, well, how well am I doing? And you see this with many tourism organizations that they spend a lot of money, but there is no booking. No one books at visitbritain.com, right? People book their airline or their hotel. We're uniquely positioned to actually measure the effectiveness of these campaigns to say, you know, when you spend X, whether it's with Adara or any other partner out there, we can, in a very transparent way, actually tell you how effective are these campaigns. Are people coming to your destinations? How much money are they spending in destinations? And then there are other insights on the measurement side that we can help with. For instance, our share of wallet, right? How well am I doing compared to my competitors on this route? Okay. Am I better than my to be assumed market share on this route? You know?
Okay, so you collect the data from brands, sort of from consumer-facing brands. I'm just wondering where sort of like the B2B tech providers fit into Adara. I mean, do they do they take the data and use it, or do they provide the data into the big engine in the middle?
Yeah, so it's a co-op, and it works in both ways. So these tech providers can submit and can contribute data, and we really encourage anyone to become part of the co-op and contribute data, because that's really when you get most of Adara out of customer yield intelligence. But then also partners can extract data and signals, for instance, from Adara. Interesting case, I talked to a very large partner of ours, one of the largest airlines here in Europe, and they said, you know what, we have enough customers, right? It's not a problem to fill up the plane, we can just reduce prices. The big challenge that we have is to keep the price level up, actually to increase it, to drive yield, to increase not just the yield on a plane, but is there other ways to increase the yield beyond the route in the plane, even to the customer level? Right? So if you know there's an open seat on your plane, typically that will just be sold at the revenue management team would sell that at a certain target price. But if you have insights like our scores that we can share with partners, if you have insights about the propensity of a given traveler, if you know this Martin Cohen is traveling or Toby Wessels, and you know a little bit about their background, and they have to go to Aviation Festival and they must go on this flight, well, wouldn't you be better off to sell this price, this last seat, at a higher price? You know, because you have insight about that unique traveler. And that's where Adara comes in, really having this data at the customer level. You know.
Okay, so I should have asked you earlier, but what do you mean by a co-op?
Sorry, excuse me?
What do you mean by a co-op? It has a very definitive meaning to a slightly left-leaning Brit, but I'm just wondering what your definition of a co-op is.
So the co-op, yes. So this is really hard to the company. When we started about 9 years ago back in Silicon Valley, we recognized that really there is much more value that can be achieved as companies work together. Yeah. And we recognized as one of our first partners an airline who shared data and allowed us to use this data to promote actually hotels, a large hotel brand. That worked phenomenally well, and so we really believe that if you're thinking in silos, you can only achieve so much with your own existing data, maybe about the customer behavior on your website. Now, if you combine this with data from other partners, or through this co-op, the Adara co-op, you really you benefit from 199 other companies who have probably seen this customer before, and who can tell you, no, this customer always takes an upgrade. Or in my case, I'm traveling with my two little kids. This customer, he doesn't need a ride-share car. He needs a van, right, with baby seats, right? And that's where we can help personalize, drive incremental yield, and really help you to generate more revenue. Okay,
one of the questions that I inevitably ask, I mean, are you a segment of one type business? Can you target down to the individual person level?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's really hard. There are many companies out there who provide insights on an aggregated level. We have all these components I mentioned earlier, learn, act, measure. We have this at the customer level, and we can act at the customer level, and that's really unique. The reason it's unique is most companies work in very short windows, you know? And it's very difficult to actually take data from one company, or even within a company, from one part of the booking engine to another booking engine. Talked to a big airline partner yesterday. We said, hey, we have a low-cost carrier in our family, and we have this established brand. We're not even able to share data between the low-cost carrier and the legacy carrier, right? And so you see this in the industry now, that even within existing companies, it's hard to share data. And data sharing at a secure level, at the individual level, is core to us, and we help partners to benefit from this.
Okay, well, I'm sure there's going to be lots of talk about data over the next couple of days. I'm not going to ask you about NDC. I'll have an NDC break for a couple of minutes. So Tobias Wessels from Adara, thanks very much for joining us. Martin Cowan, Editorial Director for tNews, back shortly.